Does this weapon really need an introduction? Well, what's going on, everyone? I hope you're having a wonderful day, and welcome back to another episode of Watch It in Action. I'm your host and three-time world champion thumb wrestler BouseFeenux, and today we're taking a walk down memory lane to cover the Orthos Prime. This is a weapon a lot of you have been requesting a video for pretty much since I started doing these videos, and at long last, I'm happy to deliver. Starting with the basics, the Orthos Prime is the spoiler alert primed version of the Tenno-designed Orthos. Orthos Prime is pretty much a straight upgrade across the board compared to the regular Orthos and mainly features slash damage as its primary damage type. This thing was a powerhouse back in the day when it was first released in Update 9. Since then, a lot of stuff has changed in Warframe, and while there are many melee weapons that can run circles around this thing in terms of DPS, I was still surprised to find when doing the research for this video that it actually still holds up fairly well. The one glaring issue with the weapon, however, is the lack of any real status or critical chance, which makes it difficult to choose for high-end content like the sorties or lengthy endless missions. I honestly don't use this weapon very often, but what it's fantastic for, though, is its use as a tool for a certain leveling strategy I made a video on a long time ago that's still viable even in Update 19. You can check out that video in the description below. The mod setup I have here isn't anything too out of the box. It's a straightforward build for a straightforward weapon. The one thing you might want to notice is that the build I'm using requires 3 forma. That's mainly because I'm using 2 primed mods. If you use the regular versions of these, you can probably get away with just 1 forma. For the stance, I'm using Bleeding Willow. I honestly don't like any of the staff/polearm stance mods, but I don't hate this one enough to repolarize the spot. Do what you want though. Primed Reach is our first mod in the build, and I gotta say that this mod was pretty much made for this weapon. With a max Prime Reach, you can pretty much snipe enemies and clear entire rooms from the other side. I'd have to say this mod is essential if you're using this weapon. Spoiled Strike is a mod I have a hard time putting on any build, but honestly, I couldn't think of anything better for this slot. It's 100% melee damage increase across the board at the cost of having slower attack speed. Depending on what frame you use this with, the speed debuff isn't that much of an issue, so keep that in mind. Primed Pressure Point is just the primed version of Pressure Point and serves to give us a massive increase in damage of all types across the board at no cost. Use the regular version if you don't have this. Fury was pretty much a no-brainer on this build and increases our attack speed. It also helps to counteract the debuff from Spoiled Strike. I usually always run these 2 mods together. On the bottom row, I've got 3 90% elementals in the first 3 slots. These elementals can be switched out to any element you want, but right now, I'm just using Corrosive and Heat to have something in the slot. Experiment and use what you want depending on the faction you're fighting. The last slot on this build is kind of a utility slot. You can pretty much put whatever you want here. I use this weapon with Wukong a lot, so typically I have a Life Strike here because it works well with this Primal Fury ability. If you're not doing that though, you can swap out Life Strike for Maiming Strike, which gives a 90% critical chance for slide melee attacks. Also, you can throw on a 60% elemental mod of your choice here as well. For the last part of this video, we're going to test this weapon out against some sortie level enemies, so they'll be around level 100. We're fighting Grineer, which honestly isn't the best case scenario due to Orthos Prime dealing mainly slash damage, but this is a common situation you'd find yourself in. Obviously, this weapon would fare much better if you're running with a group of all corrosive projections, but that isn't always the case. Notice how we're able to take out some of the weaker enemies without much of an issue. The ballistas and butchers weren't much of a problem for us, but the more heavily armored lancers are posing much more of an issue. Without high status to remove the armor through corrosive procs, or crit damage to scale with higher level enemies, it'll be tough to fight anything even in a best case scenario that's higher level than these guys with this weapon. That being said though, it's still a fantastic weapon for low level Tenno as it'll handle just about anything in the current star chart with really no issues. And that about covers it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, smash that like button. My dad says if I get 5 likes on this video, he'll let me come out of the basement. Also, if you haven't seen it yet, I put together a little something special for you guys in honor of reaching 10,000 subscribers. I had to sift through about 170 videos worth of footage to make it for you guys, so go check it out when you get a second. Also, I realize that I've been working on a bunch of different series, and my content is getting a bit convoluted, so for now, I'm just gonna stick to doing Warframe and board game content. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video, and as always, thank you so much for watching.